Moving?
Yep.
Going down?
Yep.
Okay.
It's all the way.
Going back up?
Yep.
Is it done moving?
Nope. It's not all the way up. Put it back down again.
Okay.
Oh, now it's going all the way up. Now it's all the way up.
All right, folks, we are down in the bowels of the Aquaholic, the Grady White. And one of the issues we had when we've been running is we seemed like the trim tabs weren't doing anything. So last time we had it up on the work stands, we tested that theory and we were right. The trim tabs weren't doing anything. Shay came down here below where the trim tab, the pump and everything, the motor, all that is at, and the hydraulics. And when I was operating trim tabs, or trying to, he could hear it doing something. So we kept messing with it, and then one time we got the starboard trim tab to go down. But then we couldn't get it to go back up, and we were getting put in the water that next day. So we didn't want to put it in the water with one trim tab down, because that's just not going to work right. So he went ahead, he unhooked it, hydraulic fluid released. He was able to then close it back up, and we haven't messed with it since. I've done some research on the parts I got to buy if I have to replace it. I also found online where you can do some tests of the pump itself and just see, you know, if it's the pump or maybe it's something else. So we're going to dig down in there. Now, where is it? It was in here, right? In that little hole right there. Okay. So that's where I'm going. I don't know how well you will be able to see what I'm doing, but let's give it a try. All right, there she is in all her glory right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhook those two hydraulic lines, and then I'm going to, that screws, have it mounted, you see down, let's see if you can see down there. Down there where that black piece is, you see two screws? Got those on both sides. So we're going to unhook it, take the sucker out, and we'll move on from there. All right, a quick note, if you're doing this, you got to kneel down on this floor to get at that, and you're old and broken like me. That cushion that goes over the where the table would be forward here, cushion that goes on there, fits in that spot perfectly, so you can kneel on it and get at what you got to get at. All right, let's get back to work. All right, we got her out of there. If you're a big person like me, it is not easy to fit in there to get those screws out, but that's the housing, holds the fluid. You can see some fluid dripping here. The motor's in there. So now there's some benchtop tests we can do. Had to cut the wires. It should have had a plug type system, so I'm assuming somebody worked on this before, one previous owner. Next step will be doing some bench testing. All right, this is the motor, the actuators, solenoids, whatever you want to call them, the valves. We're bench testing. I don't make fun of my cheap little setup. All you gotta do, we grounded the wire to the ground going to the battery here. And then we take the positive wire and touch it to any of the leads. So we'll touch this blue lead first, and it's for the motor. It turns it one way. You can just barely hear it running, okay? I'll do it again. All right, now we're going to touch the yellow wire, which is the other to the motor, makes it run the other way. That's what it should sound like with both of them, okay? Motor's not doing so well. Now the two solenoids each have their own wires, right? Port and starboard, yellow or green and red. So let's touch the red. It should click. So you hear that. That means that solenoid is working fine. So let's check the green. So that's working fine. So you're thinking, well, it's not too bad, but there is a little bit of issue with the motor. The biggest issue is all these wires. If you look close at them, see how close I can get you. I want to get to focus on it. There. You see how that wire is black on the outside? All of them look like that. And what that means is contamination, moisture got inside the sheathing of the wires through a connector, probably the connectors they used that when they crimped them, they broke through the plastic. So even though they were heat shrink, they exposed it to moisture. It's gone, it's wicked up into all the wires. And so it pretty much means it's shot. So what I have to do is buy a whole new setup, right? This thing is going to cost about 280 bucks. So save up a little bit of dineros, and then we'll buy a new one and we will install that one. All right, another little tidbit for you. If only one of your trim tabs isn't working, one works and one doesn't, then it's likely these bad boys, one of these, whichever side doesn't work, right? And they're easy to replace. They unscrew from the unit, so you can just unscrew that bad boy right off there and put a new one on. So, but as we saw in testing, both of mine work, and really the wiring is shot. There's no reason to put this back in there with corrosion in the wiring, because that's only going to get worse. So let's replace it. All right, so we got the new unit in. Here it is. Take the cover off. All right, before we install it, we're going to add some more fluid to it. And looking at the manual for the pump, it will take any type of automatic transmission fluid, right? So that's easy, no specific type. When you look at the wiring, it's not very long. It's got a plug on it. If you remember, the old ones were attached, the wires were spliced, right? And I wanted to check the wires that are still in the boat, right, run up to the switch. And I cut up a little further on them, and they still had corrosion in them, so I made the decision to just order a new wiring harness. So we had to wait on that. And that is here now. So now we got this plug, all right? Plugs into this plug. Good rubber seal on it. And then I'll put some dielectric grease on it. And that way I don't have to splice anything. All right, so now I've got to run these wires. Okay, so the old wires are still in. And here's the controller. Okay, so I'm going to go underneath the helm. I'll go under the helm. I'll disconnect those wires. I'll attach the new wires, the end that needs to go to the controller, to the ones down below, and then just pull it up through, and that's how we'll run the wires. So anytime you're replacing wiring on something, right, you can use one of those fish to help you do it, or you can just do like what I'm doing. If the wires are already there and you're just replacing them, tape them to those ones and pull them through. So that's what we got to do now. So let me get set up for it. All right, so we pop the cover off the controls. I'm just going to make this easier by pulling the control out from this side so I can get to the wires on the back easier. Laying underneath the helm and trying to get wires done amongst all the wiring in there. Just not a good job, especially when you're old and broken like me. There's a lot of zip ties that these run through. They're zip tied to other wires, they're zip tied to themselves. So I'll be doing a lot of re-zip tying under there, which isn't anything exciting to watch. You all understand how to use zip ties to hold line together. This line is 20 foot long, 22 foot long, and I probably need 10 foot of it. So it's going to be, I either run it the whole length and just zip tie it so that it's folded on itself, or I cut it back. And we'll decide that when we get there. I don't think I cut it back, but we'll see. All right, and there we go. Now, this isn't normal here. We were trying to, when we were troubleshooting it, we disconnected a wire that was here, the orange wire, and connected this red wire straight to a fuse panel just to make sure we had power at it. And that was just a troubleshooting thing we did that didn't work. All right, let me get some snippers and snip those. There's a zip tie right there. All right. So I'm going to start snipping these zip ties. Actually, that one I guess I could leave. We'll see. I got to go down below and snip some of them down there. All right, so one thing that does not come with the wiring harness that you buy, all right, is the ground. This is probably not going to be long enough, so I'm going to have to run some more ground wire with it. And then there's an orange power wire. You have to run that to a power source, right? Your fuse panel or whatever, and then run that to the switch. But that does not come all the way down to here. The only ones that come down here are the 4, blue, yellow, green, and red, and the ground. And that's it. So I've got to get some more line to run. I got to run the ground, and then the orange, all it's going to do is it's going to be attached underneath the helm. All right, let's get to work. All right, so we're prepping the wire to pull it through. I'm going to attach these ends to the old wires and pull it from the helm. I'm putting a little bit of tape every few feet just to keep this wrapped like it is, but I need to get the wires that aren't in this harness are the orange power wire, which is under the helm already, and the black ground wire. So I had to buy some more ground, right? So I'll have to splice that in, and then I'm going to tape it into this same piece, right, and pull it all through at once. All right, we got the wires connected. Let's turn the light on for you. You can see the wires down there. Make that a little brighter for you. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to be up top at the helm, pulling it through. You guys watch this down here for me and just let me know if it's working right. All right, appreciate it. Oops. Sorry about that. Let's try that again. All right, thanks for keeping an eye on that for me. I've got it pulled all the way through. We're going to have excess down here, just like the old one. That's 22 foot long. We're going maybe 8 or 10 feet. So that's what we're going to zip tie. So I got to get zip ties. Well, I'll show you what I got going on up top. Oh. So here's all the wires. There's the controller. I haven't disconnected it yet, right? I took pictures so I know what goes where. And this is from here down the new wire. So I've got that much pulled through. So I can wire it, and then this will be zip tied together, and same with underneath. So let's get to wiring and zip tying. So that's the orange power wire. Looks okay, but the fitting is not one that you can shrink on. So I'm going to replace that with one of my own. So that's the next step. And then all of these will be proper as far as attaching them. I'll have to do the same thing on the ground, because the ground wire that we pulled up through, the extra black wire, right? That's going to attach to a negative bus bar that's underneath the console right here. That's where the old ground was attached. That's where the new one's going to attach. So easy peasy. Let's do it. All right, so there's the 4 wires that we ran from down below, right? The blue, the red, the yellow, and green. 2 things: take pictures so you know where they went, but also if you order the wiring harness, it comes with instructions, and there's your little, tells you where to put the wires. Okay, the only ones it doesn't tell you what to do with the ground, because it doesn't come with the ground. We already know we're going to attach that to a negative bus bar. And then the positive that's already under there, you saw me heat shrink an end on it, and that's the last open hole right here. The positive can attach anywhere along this bar, right? So we're going to attach it right there and clean this stuff up and get it done. Got it all wired up. Got to mount it back into the mount location there. Then we got to attach the ground to the negative bus bar underneath here. We have to attach the ground to the ground that's coming off the new pump. Plug in the new wiring harness to the pump, fill the pump, right, and then install the pump. So let's keep going. All right, so the switch is installed. What we're going to do now is we're going to go hook everything to the pump And then we will fill the pump with transmission fluid, install the pump, and then we'll clean up all the extra wiring we got. So let's get it done. All right, time to fill this thing up. So just for the doubters, all right, it says replace tab, blah, 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 blah. Remove fill plug, which is right here. Add any type of automatic transmission fluid, right? It seems like one of the few things on your boat that requires a fluid that doesn't specify we want this brand A. So you pull this off. So it's a very small fill hole. All right, there's the cap. That guy down there. Get some paper towels ready here. So you do need a funnel, and this funnel might, yeah, even this funnel's not small enough to fit in there. So you want to try to find a funnel or a tube that'll fit down inside there. I'll see if I can find something that'll work. If not, we're going to roll with this. All right, got my ATF. We're going to roll with the funnel. I'm just going to have to hold it so that it's pouring at an angle like that, and I can't pull it too fast so that it blows over the top of it and gets tranny fluid everywhere. So okay, let's see how this goes. Oh, and another thing real quick, you'll see on the front it gives you a fill range. So that's low, that's high. It doesn't, I don't see anything calling for bleeding this system. I'm not sure. I guess when you add transmission fluid to your vehicle transmission, you don't bleed it there either. So start real little. Okay. So far so good. This was a lot quicker if I had proper, probably a hose that fits down in there that you can put something at the other end like this and pour it in. This is gonna have to do for now. So probably one of those things, right, that you need to keep on your boat. Automatic tranny fluid and a means, because once this is installed down there, you'll see it's gonna be much harder to get this down there and fill this. Not near as easy as it is right now. Ah, there we go. There we go, John. Make it a blooper reel. Not perfect, right? This hose on this end had this, that would not fit inside there, so I pulled the hose off of this. So the hose goes around the outside of this, so it's not ideal, but it's working much better than what I was doing. And could I screw this onto here? Yes, but I just don't want to let a whole bunch go at one time, so I'm not doing that right now. That is working much better though. Ideally you want something to go inside that hole, but next best thing, I guess, is better than what I was doing. Yep, we're going to call that good for now. Put the cap back in, don't forget that. That wouldn't be bad. Okay. Put the top back on. Alright. So what we got to do now is plug in the plug for the wiring harness we just added. And then we got to reattach the two hydraulic lines. And then where this mounts, it's a U-shaped bracket that it slides into. Now, earlier in the video, I was down there unscrewing screws from the bracket, but that's just because it was so tight in the bracket, it wouldn't lift out. So now it should be good. So before I wire it and all that, I'll slide it in just to make sure it's good. And we'll move on from there. Before we climb up under there, I gotta remember to put a little dielectric grease on this guy, right? On an electrical connector, and that'll just help with corrosion and moisture and all that fun stuff. All right, let's get down there and see where this thing's gonna go. All right, We're down in the dungeon, and you see that bracket right there, that little U-shaped black bracket. That's what we're gonna slide this guy into. Don't got a good place to set the camera, so you don't really get to watch this. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Alright, hard to see. I got the lines hooked up. The wiring's all done. I'm gonna go test it, and then if it works, then all this wiring is gonna get cleaned up, right? Zip ties and moved out of the way so you don't even see it. Let's go test it. Ugh, worst place to work on the boat. Moving?
Yep.
Going down?
Yep. It's all the way.
Going back up?
Yep.
Is it done moving?
Nope. Oh, now it's going all the way up. Now it's all the way up.
As you saw, it worked. All I gotta do now is get back down in there, clean up all the wiring, which is no big deal. Don't need a video of that. You all know how to use zip ties and clean up wiring. Clean up my trash, and then it'll be on to the next project. I'm actually in the middle of another project right now that you don't know about, because it's going to be the next video after this one, but you'll see it. All right, folks, do me a favor. First of all the stuff I use tool wise and things I've purchased will be in the description down below. Links will be down there. Hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. It helps me be able to make these videos and get them out to people. And you can hit the thumbs up for this one. Comment, right, if you got a better way to fill that tank, right? And then go ahead and hit the little bell notification, right? What that does is, subscription costs nothing. You subscribe, you hit the bell notification, and so next time I upload that next video I just talked about, you'll get a notification that it's there. You can go check it out. It's gonna have to do with steering. All right, peace out, folks.